occasions, and most recently to 4 o'clock for a final in inverter conditions check. So that means that one decision will be made one way or another immediately after 4 o'clock. And you can see Steve English alongside me, all of the personnel out at one of the particular areas of concern. We saw during our short break there the safety car going through one of the runoff areas and water spraying up to an extreme extent. That would clearly be too dangerous if a bike were to go through there for racing to be able to take place, knowing that there are those safety concerns sort of around the circuit. So if we were to be able to get back racing, there is clearly still some work to do. Yeah, we saw down on the FIM safety delegate there, Tamara Matko, just having a look at the conditions, and obviously an awful lot of standing water still around the outside of large portions of this track. They have gone out to see whether or not they're able to move some of that water around or to pump it off, so we'll wait and see what the final checks are. But the FIM are out on track at the moment just to see what the conditions are, and you can see they're out with a leaf blower in a slightly different function here in Indonesia, but that does give you a good indication of just how much standing water there is out there, and also how much rain has fallen in the last hour. Leaf blowers are very versatile these days, because we saw them being used to clean dirt from broken up curbing and broken up asphalt as well yesterday over the course of this weekend, Friday and Saturday. So yes, the effort is certainly being made. I don't think there was any doubt about that at any stage, and we would have forgiven, I think, a decision on a cancellation being made, given particularly that the World Championship was already settled by race 1 earlier on today. Yeah, and certainly the organisers want to make sure that we're able to have that second race, or at least tick as many boxes as possible to give it a chance of happening. That's why we're seeing them out trying to clear that bit of standing water on the exit of some of the corners. It is a real challenge, though, because this 4.3 kilometre long circuit really did just have the heavens open on it. We should say that there is still rain out and about. This is not going to suddenly become a dry race or anything even close, but it's not coming down as heavily as it was previously. We had something similar happen yesterday afternoon. The postponement of race 1 was announced, and then we had a bit of a spell where there was no further rain, only for the heavens to open again and give us another big deluge. If we have any further heavy rain, I think that really will be game over. Yeah, and certainly looking just in the gap since we were last on air, I went out into the middle of the paddock just to have a look out to where the weather has been coming from all the way through this weekend, and it is quite bright in that area. It doesn't look like there's too much rain coming in, so it is a case of just trying to clear off what we have now, but that's a big task to have. You can see them pumping the water in the background and then using the leaf blowers in the foreground, so a real task to be able to do that. Yes, the leaf blower in particular looks fairly optimistic. If the heavy machinery can manage it, though, then this could be an option. Certainly our initial expectation was that there was very little chance of being able to go racing here this afternoon, and we're seeing the live pictures. The rain is continuing to lash down, so it's going to be a full wet race if we do get started, but that really is going to depend on safety concerns at the moment. Yeah, and certainly a lot of riders are going to want to be able to have a look around the track as well. You do place all your faith in the FIM and their safety checks, but we've also seen at different times in the past the Safety Commission come together. We saw that in Louse's Ring a few years ago, and that typically is 3 of the most experienced riders on the grid giving their opinions and then seeing what decision can be made. Inevitably there will be a mixture of opinions as to whether we want to go racing or not. When you look at pictures like this, it certainly doesn't look too bad in the pit lane, at very least in terms of conditions, but there are clearly some areas of the circuit that are of particular concern. Yeah, and we saw that as the riders were making their way to the grid at 20 to 3, that was just after the rain had started to fall, and there was already a lot of standing water out when everyone was on the grid. Then just made that worse. You can see some spots of rain on that camera as well, facing down pit lane, and so it is still coming down. Actually, outside our commentary box window, we've fogged up to such an extent we can't see anything outside of our commentary box, but certainly is still rain falling. There was a little bit of thunder in the air as well, so it is a big ask to be able to see if we're able to get this back underway, but clearly everything being done to try and make that as possible if possible. Yes, and the teams and the riders are still prepared in case they are required to be pressed into service this afternoon. Yeah, Michael van der Mark there, back in his. You can see the teams taking their bikes onto pit lane, some of them just warming up their bikes in anticipation if we get the go-ahead. And you can see for Chaz Davis, this would be his last race in World SBK, and we'll see if it happens. Yes, we will indeed. The rain continuing to drive down, as you've seen from the pictures of the pit lane in particular, and that does rather suggest, well, what's the difference, as it were, between where we are now and where we were an hour ago? Well, an hour ago it was still coming down that